Oh, isn't that cute? Budburst. G'day everyone, I'm Tim Thompson. Today we've got a few jobs to do because we've got Budburst on our new vineyard. So there's three very important jobs that I have to do on the vineyard today. The first is to put guards around these vines because rabbits are quite active in this area and they'll take off that new fresh growth like that overnight as soon as they find it. These are the vine guards I ended up going with. Now you can get these in much longer sizes. I went with the 450mm for a very good reason. That is, it's going to stop any herbicide drift on these at all. And it's also going to allow me to access the vine to trim off laterals without having to take the guard on and off. I know people are going to say with these guards that, oh no, they open and close really easily, they've got tabs on them, you can take them apart, put them back together again. My experience is no. My experience is that if you take these apart a couple of times, they've pretty much reached their shelf life. And I don't want guards flying off halfway through my first season. So I'm going with the shorter ones. They've saved me a bit of money by getting shorter, but it's also going to mean that the guards will last a bit longer and probably see the season through. Now, just because I'm doing this in my own time on a tiny little hobby vineyard doesn't mean I shouldn't forget all of the lessons that I've learned in the workplace, and that is try and maximize efficiency. There is no point setting this stuff up so you've got to bend down, stand up again, bend down, stand up again. So you notice I set up a cheap little picnic table here so that everything's at waist height. I don't have to bend for anything. It makes me go a bit faster. I'm putting everything straight into a barrow, all pointing the same direction, so I know which way all the vine guards are when it comes to putting them out. I'm trying to maximize every step of the way my efficiency, because let's face it, even though it's a hobby, if I do things properly, they're a lot more enjoyable. Before putting the guards on, we're going to do our first bit of training, which is pruning them back to a couple of good buds. That way we don't end up with 16 shoots fighting with each other in the middle of the guards and a big jungle to deal with. Once you got all the vines pruned and looking great, and you get all the guards on, it just starts to look like a proper vineyard. It's a really rewarding part of the process. So before we can do any of our guarding or training of the vines, we have to run out our three wires, which are our bottom irrigation wire, our cordon wire, that's the fixed permanent wire at about 900mm above the ground, and then one of our top flexible foliage wires. We're going to end up with 4 foliage wires per row next year. This year I'm just going to put up one of the top ones on each row to tie the string off to. Before we do any of that, we have to set up the tiebacks on the box end assemblies. So let's get into that, and I'm going to use my mates from Spiralfast here to do all the joins in the vineyard, because I'm going to be pruning near them. I'm going to be wrapping grapevines around these wires. I don't want big bulky knots or gripples or anything to get in the way and make my job harder. And I'm going to give you a tip for the tiebacks that fencers don't commonly do when they're setting up vineyards too. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'll show you up here is that instead of coming to the top of the box end assembly like fencers normally do, what I've done is I've come down to 830. Now that means that my 900 wire is always going to be above the stay wire. That's important in a vineyard because when you're cutting off your cordons and wrapping down each year, you don't want to be fiddling around a stay wire. It's going to make my job of pruning that much more pleasant, and it's something that people don't commonly think of. I know that dropping the stay wire down a bit does lower the strength efficiency of the tieback marginally, but what I'm gaining is an incredible efficiency in work rate. Putting a bit of oil around those staples just makes it so much easier to run out the wire. amazing what a bit of lubrication does. How neat and easy is that? I love this product. Now, wire spacing on the ends can be a bit confusing. What I'm using is I'm using a stick here as a template, and there's a nail put in the stick everywhere I want to staple. So I'm going 80 off the ground for the stay wire, 300 off the ground for the irrigation wire, 900 off the ground for the cordon, and 1500 off the ground for the top foliage wires. I'm not putting the middle foliage wires in this year, they'd go in at 1200, but this year I'm just putting in, remember, one of the top foliage wires, so they get tied off at the end at 1500, and I'll explain why later on. This little template is useful as well, because later on, when it comes to stapling the wire up all the way along the posts, all I have to do is hook the wire onto the nail and I know it's at the perfect height. Now, straining up the top foliage wire, we don't want the wire too tight at all. We actually want it to be quite slack. And really all I'm doing is just giving it maybe 1 or 2 clicks on the chain until the wire comes up to the same height as the cordon wire when it's strained from 1500. That way, when I lift it up to 1.8 or 2 meters up, it goes nice and perfectly tight. So that is about as strained up as I'm ever going to want my foliage wire. And hey, if you want to learn how to do the end knot that I'm doing on the screen right now, there's a link on the screen. Just click on it and it'll take you to that video. That is about as tight as you're going to want the wire, because don't forget, it's going all the way up here, all the way along. That's going to tighten up like crazy. And lastly but not least, I've got to run out some irrigation, because when it finally stops raining, and it's been raining here for quite a while, but when it does stop raining, it's going to shoot to 35-40 degrees Celsius almost overnight, and I need to be able to have a water source for these vines to turn it on, keep their small root systems going. Now it's time to run out the pre-inserted dripper line. But unfortunately, plumbers don't talk to fences. What I'd love to do is use the spinning jenny so that my dripper line reels out without tangling and unravelling. But of course, pipes come in a different diameter to wire. We can fix that. Don't forget, irrigation pipes, just like wire, the bit with the label on is the part you start with, and don't mix up the inside and the outside or you'll end up in tangles galore. 15 litre bucket. Here's our spindle. Now we've got to cut ourselves a couple of bits of this 1¼ inch pipe to act as tie-offs at the end of each run. Now pull up your pipe reasonably firmly but not over tight. Today's a warm day. If it gets cold, you don't want your pipe to shrink and pull all your fittings off. And give yourself about 1/2 foot or so past the post. Cut your pipe off. Now we're going to use one of our little sleeves, put this on the pipe, slide it down, pull our pipe up through our wire till it's reasonably firm, double it over and slide on our sleeve. That'll hold that in place, and also let me clean out the pipe whenever I want just by sliding the sleeve back and running the irrigation for an hour or so. The next job is to attach the pre-inserted dripper line to the irrigation wire, and for that we're going to use these little guys here, Jiffy clips. You get them in packs of 1,000, so once again we've had to buy way more than we need, being a small project, but they just twiddle onto the wire beautifully and hold it perfectly in place. We're going to put one between each vine and we're going to put one at each vine. It's really important to put the Jiffy clips at the vine, because then any water that runs down the wire and the hose you catch when it hits the Jiffy clip right where you want it. Okay, now we've got to actually connect our dripper tube to our submain. So we've dug it up here a little bit. You can see our 32mm or 1¼ inch submain. I'm going to use a 16mm drill bit, and we're going to drill into the submain nice and straight. Be very careful you don't drill through the other side. That would become a real headache. Now we place our grommet into the hole. A little bit of spit always helps. And then we need to put our barb in. Now the barb has a shorter section that goes into the grommet and a longer section that goes into our 13mm riser. So we need to make sure we're putting the right end in the right bit. And they can be a bit tricky to get in, but there you have it. Yep. Next up, we'll lubricate our riser. Pop our 13mm pipe onto there. Measure up to the correct height, put our clips on, this is where the other end of the secateurs can be used as a handy pair of pliers. You'll get that a lot tighter than you will by hand. It's gross, you get used to licking this stuff. And then this is the bit where you sweat a bit. You cut your brand new drip tube, lubricate your tee, slide him on, Add your clips. Cover the whole bang lot over and repeat for as many rows as you have. So there we have it. All our wires for the first season are run out, our irrigation's run out, it's plumbed into the submain, and we've got guards on the vines before the rabbits attack. So that's not a bad weekend's work. Next time round, we're going to tie up all of the training strings, connect up the irrigation and run it, and then we're going to open the guards and reduce all of the vines back to the 2 strongest, healthiest shoots. And hey, don't forget, if you like this video, it would really help me out if you hit that little red button down there and subscribe. You've got no idea how much it helps the channel. I hope that this video has provided some sort of inspiration for a project you can do at home. Until next time guys, I'll catch you later.